the years in assorted categories. And there is Bosco Hoy with his similar Audi.
They're all represented in the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. We just had the road sports race to get racing underway here at Macau as we look at the number 99 car of Evan Mack. A little wave for the camera. I think I rather like his helmet design.
Yes, yes.
Very
Super Mario.
Very, very artistic indeed. Yeah. And qualifying 15th from the Song Ben racing team, one of the mainstays of racing at Macau. Number 11 is the guy of Lai Chi Ho, BMW.
Number 20 there is one of the McLaren 570S GT4s. This is Sung Jianfang's car, who raced in the GT World Challenge Asia this year in GT4 machinery. And there, number 77 is another of the Ginettas, this for Lo Kim Ho.
It's fair to say that we were impressed by the entry to the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup, avoiding stoppages in free practice. A very, very good record they've had over the course of the 2 days we've had already. Qualifying 18th is the number 12 car. And a thumbs up from Patricio Yu.
There is Liu Chanfai with his Porsche Cayman. 718 iteration of the Porsche Cayman, these GT4 Club Sports, which there are a good number on the grid. 55, you see, is another of the Ginettas. This is for Kenny Chung, regular in the Chinese Racing Cup and the China GT series, and his is one of the left-hand drive variants of the G55.
Just making sure he's strapped in and ready to go as the personnel are invited to leave the grid. Did I see a little lion mascot there?
You did,
Okay.
Yes. There you can see Hugo Wong's McLaren as well, another of the 570S, which is the GT4 model. I think there's a gap on the grid. James Tang's Mercedes hit the barrier in Q1 and didn't get out for Q2, and I don't think he's going to be on the grid for the first race either. Matt Carlock there, very experienced touring car racer with another of the latest Exiges, which is another car that's therefore a GTC car. It's a bit old relative to the GT4 cars around it, and it therefore doesn't fit GT4 regulations. It goes into the GT Cup. And
that car has not been totally without problems over
you're right.
the 2 days so far, and that's the 66 car of So Yang Hong, Lotus Exige. So the wide shot of the grid suggests we have another very impressive entry for our second race of the day. 28 cars in total have qualified for this race, although not all 28 down there on the grid.
Yeah, there's a gap you can see 2 rows up, and that's where James Tang, who rattled into the barriers and damaged the left-hand side of the car in Q1. He should have been there, but disappointment. He's, I'm afraid, not going to make the grid, but it just underlines the success story of GT4 racing over the last few seasons. It was a slow burn, but eventually, once manufacturers got involved rather than tuners, and really it was Porsche, which was the catalyst for all of this, that we got more and more interest in the category, and it's been a runaway success. It got KTM crossbow with the bodywork up towards the guardrail. You can see it, in fact, in the background there, can't you? The bodywork raised. You're not going to see it in a mandatory pit stop, but in double driver races, as the car comes in and the bodywork goes up and forward, it's quite a sight.
If you have an unusual door, let's make the most of it and let everybody see it. And yeah, you really can't miss it, can you, down there on the grid? As the final few personnel are left remaining on the grid. We had a great battle in qualifying yesterday between the Lamborghini and the Mercedes that occupy the front row of the grid. I'm really rather looking forward to the start of this race. The lime green Lamborghini on pole position, number 9 of Liang Xiaotong, and alongside Law Ki Law in the Mercedes that up until qualifying yesterday had been the class of the field. I think we all rather had the idea that that car was going to be taking, but the Lamborghini shot up to the top of the times and was never headed over the course of yesterday. So that's confirmation of the grid. The front row of the grid is the Lamborghini Huracan alongside the Mercedes AMG, and that is going to be the battle down to turn one that is going to excite. We are fast approaching 9:30 in the morning local time here in Macau. 24 degrees, a little bit of cloud in the sky, but it's a hot day. It's going to be hot work inside these cars for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. Spot on 9:30. The cars are going to be released on their warming up lap to take the start of an 8-lap race with a rolling.
So the man on pole position then, which is Liang Jietong in the Harmony Racing Lamborghini Huracan, the STO model, very experienced driver of Lamborghinis. He's raced them in the Italian GT Championship, in IGTO, the International GT Open, and in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia with great success. So he absolutely knows how these cars behave. The man that's up over the grid, Law Kai Law, a kart racer turned Asian Formula Renault turned China GT racer. So again, there's a lot of experience of what a GT car is all about. And away then down now towards Reservoir Band on this formation lap. We are getting ready for our first GT race of the day.
Interesting to watch actually, as the front row led the field away immediately. They knew exactly what they have to do. They have to weave the cars. You can't do it if you are side by side with another car. So instantly they went into single file and were able to get a bit of available opportunities. You get further down the grid, it's more difficult to do that. You're still side by side with another car, so you can't start the process until you get track on your own. And
again, the race director, so you'll find in the briefing notes that the race director gives to the drivers, he'll say, I want you in that 2x2 formation from this particular corner.
Yes.
So this is where you get in formation. The rest of the lap, you can speed away if you like, you can open up the gaps, you can do that weaving, get the heat in the tyres, but once you get to point X, that's when you form up ready for the start.
That is when you need to be in formation.
So it's not like you have to do the whole lap side by side, and again, that's communicated to the drivers well in advance.
This is going to be something to look forward to at the start of this race. It was such a battle yesterday. I think we mentioned during qualifying, this is a bit like a race, isn't it, between these two, and Loy Kai Law was, I think, maybe a bit surprised after qualifying one with the pace of the Lamborghini. Liang Jietong in the Lamborghini Huracan, which is a spectacular, they're all spectacular machines, but the Lamborghini is particularly striking, isn't it? And
it is.
If you have a Lamborghini, you really have to have quite a bright colour on it just to be absolutely sure that everyone has seen it.
Well, I think the green has become the sort of works colour, hasn't it, over the last few seasons. But yes, even the road cars nowadays always come in a very bright livery, and Lamborghini has had a remarkable turnaround in the company's fortunes. It's part of the Volkswagen Audi group, of course, these days. But the success of Super Trofeo 1 Mate Racing, plus GT3, now there's going to be a hypercar program for 2024. The Lamborghini Squadra Corsa, run by former racer Giorgio Sana, goes from strength to strength, with a grid of not just Lamborghini, but Porsche, Mercedes, Lotus, Ginetta, BMW, Audi, McLaren. What have I missed? Oh, KTM. Thank you. Yes.
So, I was going to do it earlier on, and I thought, I know. So I think you've got through them all. But basically, you've got all the car brands that we dream of owning, dream of opening the garage door. And this is a really spectacular field that we've got for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. And they really have provided great entertainment. Bear in mind, day one was just about free practice. To have entertaining free practice is pretty unusual, but we did have a very, very exceptional day for the Mercedes, for Low Key Law, and he was entertaining us in as much as he was straight on the case. When he was out onto the lap, the opening lap, he was within a hair's breadth of the barriers, absolutely inch perfect around the gear circuit, and therefore we had great entertainment on free practice day and great entertainment on qualifying day as well. Last bit of heat being weaved into the tyres. 8 laps we've got for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. being led around by the safety car. The safety car will bring them all into line. We will see. They were very well behaved in the motorsport race. When you say there is a point at which they need to get in grid order, and the motorsports were very good at doing that. It's going to be now, isn't it? Because the safety car slows down, the front row is in place, the second row is in place. Discipline is absolutely vital around a tight road circuit like the Macau gear circuit. 6.2 kilometres, 8 laps in prospect, and there are 27 cars on the grid for the start of this race. 28 cars had qualified, 27 cars will take the start of the race. The safety car will peel off, they'll go around the final turn, and eyes to the gantry looking at the red lights, which will be on, and then we'll get our second race of the weekend. 8 laps around the gear circuit here at Macau, due to get underway any moment now. Up towards the line, the red lights are on, they're out, we're racing, and who's going to get the better of the start? It is the Lamborghini from pole position and the Audi. So a very impressive start there from the second row of the grid.
Yeah, it was Brian Lai, wasn't it, in the other Lamborghini that went round the outside of Law Kai Law. So you've got a Lamborghini 1-2.
It was a Lamborghini.
Same group. Got a really good start. So Brian Lai very bravely right round the outside. At the moment, the race leader then, which is Liang Jiatong, is getting away, but the battle is on for second place, heading down towards Lisboa. And I'm afraid to say the Mercedes, plural, are dropping back.
It's a surprise, isn't it? We were looking at maybe a side-by-side battle for the lead of the race off the line. They're going to be side-by-side into Lisboa. That's not going to work. The number 3 car is nose into the barrier on the inside of Lisboa. It's a car park down at Lisboa. And unfortunately, Leo Litcar in the Elegant Racing team is in a not-so-elegant position.
There's an Audi in strife as well that I think has stalled and can't get going. And all of that was totally predictable, totally avoidable as well, because it was up the inside Li Chao in the other Phantom Pro Racing Mercedes that tried a move that was never on, and that has created mayhem around it.
Oh dear, oh dear. And I suppose all that we can take from that is that although it was a car park down there, there was a queue to get past the car. I think everybody managed to squeeze through, did they not? Apart from the number 7 Janetta that had qualified well, Lei Kit Meng in the RPM Racing Team Janetta G55. That car has got a problem. No problem for the Lamborghini from pole position. Number 9, Liang Jiatong, with now his mirrors once again full of a Mercedes, which is what we had in qualifying yesterday. So while we were looking at the muddle down at Lisboa, it has been a recovery by Law Kai Law. They squeeze around Melco. Not sure the Lamborghini got the greatest turn through Melco that time.
I was just thinking, though, it was a bit close to the wall. The top 2, you're right, have really broken away from the rest, haven't they? So Lamborghini leads the way. Liang Jiatong up towards the end of lap 1 from Law Kai Law in second place. There's a stranded Audi there, which might well be Delphine Choi's car going no further. So there are yellow flags around the circuit. And the top 2 looking as though they're the only cars on the track. Such is the advantage.
That's how it was in qualifying yesterday. The battle between the 2 of them was so impressive. 1 lap is complete now out of 8 laps. It's the Lamborghini out on his own, but certainly the Mercedes AMG of Law Kai Law is doing his best to bring the gap down, which at the as they cross the line at the end of lap number 1 was 3.2 seconds.
And there into the wall goes the Audi. I think it is Delphine Choi's car. So that's the end of that, because the suspension will be broken.
It is, yeah.
And there's a safety car board, and the yellow flags fly down towards Lisboa. So Liang Jiatong leads the way, accelerates out the other side of the corner, but it's yellow flags all the way around the circuit, and the pace will slow while the recovery operation kicks in. So that brings Law Kai Law back into the mix as far as the race lead is concerned. There are other cars in the race, bear in mind. Third, a long way back, is Chris Shear. 4th, Brian Lai. So Lai, after his demon start, got mugged a little bit, didn't he, on that first lap, and has fallen back into 4th. 5th is Chen Sun Zheng, and 6th, after triggering the incident at Lisboa, is Li Chao. But safety car deployed.
This safety car is pretty much a gift for Law Kai Law in the number 79 Mercedes AMG, because that gap, which was 3.2 seconds, of course, now stands the chance of, on the restart, being much, much closer. The problem yesterday for Law Kai Law was just not as quick as the Lamborghini. That was the problem. I'm not sure what the problem was at the start that caused it to drop down a place. It was rectified halfway through the lap.
Just didn't seem to have the go, did it?
Didn't,
but
no.
The Lamborghinis did off the line. So there is the safety car, which is the Lamborghini Urus, which will allow through the recovering Ginetta of Lei Kit Meng, and it will wait and wait and wait and pick up the leader. So at the end of lap 2, starting lap 3, safety car conditions, and this, I'm assuming, is to retrieve Delphine Choi's Audi.
Yeah, and it could potentially be quite a short safety car intervention, this, as they come up towards the Melco hairpin. Just giving the car a wiggle, the Lamborghini, going up towards the hairpin, because keeping heat in the tyres is going to be a vital part of this safety car intervention.
Chris Shear in third place now, somebody that he can see. He's caught up to the leaders. Brian Lai is going to be in fourth, but he's some way back. You can see the way the gaps had opened up over the first few laps of the race, but when they do get behind the safety car, so the gaps will all come down, and it means that that does give Law Kai Law another chance to try to make progress on the restart. Now you see the drivers weaving around a little bit, not because it's the restart imminent, but what they're trying to do is maintain the tyre temperatures and the pressures ready for that restart. But it's going to be at least one lap behind the safety car. We're under safety car conditions, so no overtaking. The safety car, of course, is so that the race can continue, albeit under controlled conditions.
And as they come across the line, they now complete 2 laps of that race, and only now, it's a long lap, isn't it? 6.2 kilometres. Only now do they find the safety car,
which starts to quicken its pace and scoops up everybody behind. So the green Lamborghini, that of Liang Jiatong there. Further back, Patricia Yu in the Lotus Exige. So you've got quite a few of the back markers hustling on to catch up. And in fact, Patricia Yu has just done the fastest lap, even though it's under safety car conditions, but he's still accelerating to try and catch the crocodile of cars. So he's got there now. So the field then turning through Reservoir and Mandarin down towards Lisboa. We await news of the safety car coming into the pits. When the lights go out atop it, that's the indication that it will peel in at the end of the lap, but lights flash for the time being as down towards Lisboa comes Liang Jiatong, who means business in this race, doesn't he? The way that he attacked the start on cold tyres, very impressive indeed. The Mercedes second and third, Lamborghini fourth, it is BMW fifth, and another Mercedes AMG there in sixth place. That's of Li Chao, the Porsche racer, as well as multi-mark GT racer, turning his way now through the approach to San Francisco Hill.
And let's not forget something we mentioned right at the start, that we've got 2 categories of GT cars in the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. We've got GTC, and that includes the race leader, the Lamborghini number 9, and also we've got GT4 cars, and that includes our second place car, the Mercedes AMG of Law Kai Law. We're under safety car. We've got 2 laps completed, 1 lap under safety car conditions, and as the field form one long train for the recovery, we think, of the Audi.
So drivers still trying to, as I say, maintain tyre temperature, and Lei Kit Meng, even though we're behind the safety car, has done the fastest lap because he had virtually a whole lap to make up. So he's stormed along and has caught the queue of cars. So he now should be there ready to make progress once we go back racing. But because there you can see in the background the Audi is being retrieved. And again, it's come to rest at one of those parts that there's no crane nearby, so you have to send out a flatbed, send out the marshals, and it's not the truck, it's then getting the truck off the circuit.
Yeah, they can do it fairly quickly, a recovery, even on the back of a flatbed recovery vehicle, but it's still going to take up a couple of laps. So this eats into the race distance.
It does, because there's laps and time for this. So we've been talking about 8 laps, all 30 minutes, depending on which comes first. And we have had now 9 minutes of the race elapsed. The cars turn their way through, but keep an eye on the clock as the rest of the field file through Donna Maria, left-hander that takes you down to the Melco hairpin. So it looks like one more lap, doesn't it? Because the road is not yet clear.
It is warm today. Did you see the chap in the background just making the most of a tiny little bit of shade to sit and regard the second race of the day? So, yeah, it is 24 degrees and rising.
There is Chris Shear running in 3rd place, ahead of Brian Lai with the Lamborghini Huracan. He's been racing in the Formula Renault Super Challenge this year. He's 4th in the championship, in fact, Brian Lai. So a very different race car, going from a single-seater to a GT machine for this weekend. Completely different feel for what he's been racing elsewhere on permanent circuits during the course of the year. Then in 5th place, the BMW goes through of Chen Zhen Cheng. And in 6th place, Li Chao in the second of those Phantom Pro racing Mercedes AMG GT4s. Now, whether he gets looked at for the dramas at the start, we'll only know really post-race. But the car that he collided with, that of the Ulick car, did get going, but down in 25th place, very, very badly delayed, having qualified 6th.
That could have been a lot worse, you know, down at Lisboa with the car 90 degrees to the oncoming traffic and quite near the front of the field as well. They did well to avoid that car. That was well recovered.
Right, pace quickening, which suggests that we might be back racing this time. Still the lights flash, but it's normally towards the second half of a lap where the race director would give the instruction. Once they've gone past the incident zone, then we'll have a better idea. But my feeling is that we'll go racing at the end of this lap, because you can feel now that the pace is quickening. Yeah,
you certainly can. And the weaving of, at very least, our race leader in the Lamborghini Huracan, just taking every available opportunity to wiggle the car from side to side, just try and keep as much heat in those tyres as is possible. And that's the key. We saw it with the GT3 cars yesterday, didn't we? As soon as they're on the circuit from the pit lane or from the assembly area, weaving. Try and get as much heat into the tyres. On a warm day like today, that helps. Sunshine breaking through the clouds here at Macau.
It's a great shot, that, as well, isn't it? Looking down on the circuit.
Superb.
And the yellow flag still wave, but won't be long, I think, before we go back to green flag conditions. The cars head through the Solitude S's. So you've got Mercedes AMG versus holding sway up till that safety car period.
So we do see the pace quicken. They have completed 3 laps. At the end of this lap, they're going to have completed 4 laps, so half distance of an 8-lap race for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. And what you note about this is that when you do have an interruption from a safety car, it really does have an effect on the overall race complexion, because they've now had, at the end of this, 3 laps under the safety car, only 1 full lap of racing. But the good news is that the safety car will come in at the end of this lap. So potentially we're going to have 4 full laps of racing for the GT cars. And as we have said before, they have been incredibly entertaining to watch over the course of 2 days so far for the now 4-day meeting for the Macau Grand Prix back to its normal length.
Absolutely right. So the safety car due in this time, and Liang Jiatong leads the way. As I say, he's had great success in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Asia, which is back running next year as well. Now that travel is a bit easier in the region, John Flynn's team operating the championship will be back up and running. There's an Australian round on the cards, but can we get through the remainder of the race still with that Lamborghini holding sway? Look at the way that he controls the restart. He's got everybody tucked up behind him, and it is up to Liang Jiatong to decide when he accelerates away. What he wants to do is to try and do it so that he can storm clear, gain an advantage over Lorcai Law in second place.
He's the only one with room to weave.
Yeah, pretty much.
No one else could.
Yeah. And the safety car, I think, was slowed, thinking, where have they got to? So the safety car, we are told, is due in this time, but it's not exactly sped up to get out of the way.
It's really slowed up, hasn't it?
Yeah. And the danger is now that they're all going to have to slow right down because they're going to catch the safety car again. But I think what the safety car is reluctant to do is to peel off so quickly that the cars are arriving at our bend too fast, if you like, because he doesn't want them to accelerate into the corner from a very high speed. It's making sense. The more room you've got, the quicker you arrive here on colder tyres. Not a good idea.
Heating the tyres is exactly what our race leader was trying to do, and what an advantage that gives, because it's down to him once the safety car peels off into pit lane and Liang Jiatong gets the power down, and with potentially a little bit more heat in the tyres, what an advantage at that restart.
Great restart from Liang Jiatong then, so he's clear again as they accelerate out of Mandarin for the 5th time in this 8-lap race, with Lorcai Law in second, flashing the lights to try to distract the leader. Good luck with that as they come down towards Lisboa, but it's worth a try. And then in 3rd place, Chris Shear, and a change possible for 4th maybe, because the BMW there look of Prabha on the inside. Brian Lai gets mugged by the BMW and it's all kicked off around him. So a dive to the inside from Chen Zun Cheng didn't work. Contact was just about avoided, but it shuffled the order as Li Chao, amongst others, suddenly gained ground.
Contact almost looked inevitable, and it was, because the 77 car, that's the car of Lau Kim Ho in the Ginetta, one of the 2 cars down at Lisboa.
Yeah, so drama amongst the Ginettas, and others delayed in that. And there you see the contact. So 55 of Kenny Chung was the one that got turned around by Lo Kim Ho, and others had to wait and pick their way through. But Liang Jiatong, Alan, thinks, don't care, I'm away.
No, absolutely superb. And the attention to detail, keeping the heat in the tyres, was exemplary by our race leader. That was really impressive stuff. Everyone else wanted to do it, but they didn't have the space. In particular, not for Lorcai Law, and now Lorcai Law in the Mercedes AMG is looking threatening as they go out of Moorish.
All of a sudden he's back at the races, isn't he? So having lost ground at the first part of the lap, the Mercedes AMG makes it up again on the run down towards Melco hairpin. So this is not over yet as far as the race lead is concerned. And diving late on the brakes, Lorcai Law almost into the back of the leader, but then he loses a length coming out of the hairpin the other side. So Liang Jiatong is still in charge, and on this section of the circuit, the Lamborghini stretches its legs.
Lorcai Law looked very, very urgent in qualifying yesterday to do something about the pace of the Lamborghini. Wasn't able to do so. There's a similar sense of urgency about the Mercedes AMG today. The flashing lights, the 27 car has caused the double-waved yellows to come out.
Now remember that car was involved with Brian Lai, so it's picked up damage that's put it out of the race. So we've got another double yellow flag zone. The leader goes by now, so that puts him onto lap number 6, and the lead gap is 2.2 seconds. I have a feeling that Liang Jiatong is playing a bit with Lorcai Law, because around the mid part of the circuit where you can't overtake, he can just drive at a reduced pace, can't he? Trap him almost, and then he knows he's got the speed on this section to stretch the margin.
A proper cat and mouse race this is potentially going to be for the remaining laps through Lisboa they go. Quite nice to be out of the pack though for the top 2 and around Lisboa, because that has proved to be a sticky point when you're further down the field. And it was Chen Sung Chang in the BMW, the Toro Racing BMW that we saw off in the 27 car, come to a stop on the circuit.
We've had confirmation as well that that first lap incident between Liu Lik Ka, who got turned around by Li Chao, no further action. It's deemed a racing incident, so to the frustration of the now recovering Liu Lik Ka, he's up into 13th place, escapes without penalty, and is up into 4th place, Li Chao.
So this is our race leader. Dominance in qualifying yesterday. In the another view of the BMW, over pretty much out of harm's way, but not completely out of harm's way. And they can operate out under waved yellows at the moment. This is, as you say, where they close up in the twisty section. But, our race leader, Liang Jiatong, knows that once you can open up the power, come out of the Melco hairpin, that advantage really does extend on the quick sweeping parts of the gear circuit down towards the R2 as one, aren't they?
Yeah. But Liang Jiatong there going 2 miles an hour if he wants. There's just nowhere for the Mercedes to go. And now, where you have got the width of the road to overtake, the Lamborghini just finds another gear, and Liang Jiatong waves goodbye, storms away.
But is that a reaction to the constant light flashing that we've got from the Mercedes in second place? Because that has been a tactic through. I am told that sometimes it does put a leading driver off.
Yeah.
So
anything you can do to try and distract the driver.
A tiny mistake is all you need.
Especially here, yeah, because there's no margin for error whatsoever. And now that margin, again, look, stretches. See what they were like 3 corners back. But on this part of the circuit, that Lamborghini is so fast. The gap, 2 seconds as they come over the line. Fastest lap of the race, Liang Jiatong anyway. Of course, leading GT4 is Lord Kai Law. But again, that margin stretches all the way down to Lisboa, but expect it to come down again as they go uphill and through that very narrow midsection.
First time we've said it today as well. What a glorious noise, and it really is a beautiful noise from the whole of the field for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. Just you wait till later on, and we've got the GT3 cars out around the gear circuit at Macau as well. Just beautiful. A symphony of different types of engines, different types of noises, and they're all echoing past the walls and the barriers around the gear circuit. It's just a wonderful sight, a spectacle, and audio symphony. Superb.
Now Chris Shear is a little bit lonely in 3rd place. He's dropped away again from the leaders. In 4th place, Brian Lai, who is another 4 seconds back. So Chris Shear looks like he's on for the podium, but will be frustrated again in that he just can't match the pace of the top 2. And there is a mechanical warning flag, the lead ball flag, being prepared for Lo Kim Ho's Ginetta that I think we saw. Oh, yeah, you can see why it's falling apart on that left front corner. We'd seen it involved in an earlier skirmish at Lisboa, and not even sticky tape is going to do for that. So the scrutineers want it in so that it doesn't become a bigger hazard for other drivers.
And rightly so,
yeah.
Because yeah, that's just a little bit too much damage to carry on with, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the car can still circulate, but as bits fall and are driven over and cause punctures and dramas, that's not good. So the race leaders then are on lap 7. They're coming towards the end of it, and again the lead gap stretches into Fisherman's Bend as Liang Jiatong looks so strong, powering his way towards our bend, and Lord Kai Law is having to accept the fact that that GTC spec Huracan is just that little bit too fast.
About to go on to the final lap, and how quickly that comes. They say time flies when you're having fun. We've certainly had fun enjoying these GT cars around Macau so far this weekend. But unfortunately, they had 3 laps behind a safety car, and emerging dominant at the restart was this lime green Lamborghini. It has been exceptional from qualifying onwards, absolutely exceptional. Liang Jiatong continues for the final lap, still flashing the lights in the Mercedes AMG in the vague hope that a mistake is going to be made. But we've not seen a mistake, have we, from the Lamborghini?
It's been well driven, it's been well run, and a beautifully controlled race this by Liang Jiatong. He has played to the strengths of that car and played to, if you like, the nature of the circuit, knowing that where there's no chance for your opponent to get by, you can go that little bit slower, you can box him in, but also you can therefore be so precise at a slightly lower speed, be mindful of not making any errors whatsoever, having it all under control, and then where you're able to push that little bit harder, so he's been able to do it. A very impressive drive by Liang Jiatong, who has been just the driver to beat across qualifying and this opening race for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. We've lost one of the Caymans, sad to say. That is
Leo Chanfai.
Thank you, who has ground to a halt in the MP racing car. But yeah, hat tip to Liang Jiatong because he's played this absolutely right.
They close up now, and they've done it every lap under racing conditions. The Lamborghini and the Mercedes AMG through Police and through Moorish Hill onto Donna Maria. This is where they do close up. It's the shortest distance between first and second that we have race long. And then, after they've negotiated the no overtaking Melco hairpin, that's when the power of the Lamborghini opens up. Oh, tiny on the exit of that corner for our race leader, Liang Jiatong, pole position and on course for a win as well as second race of the weekend. And the Lamborghini has been exceptional around the final few turns on the gear circuit. This has been a beautifully controlled race by the pilots of the number 9 Lamborghini up towards the line, and checkered flag and a race win, pole position and a race win for Liang Jiatong. Second place goes to, oh dear, the number 72 car has had a problem on the final lap. Choi Wai Kin in the Lotus Exige, and a fair bit of damage to the front after hitting the barrier down there. That's on the final lap, so that can be controlled. And a third place has gone to Brian Lai. So Brian Lai on the final lap has taken the final position on the podium. Chris Char, I think, was expected to be in third place, so story to tell about the final lap. There is the Exige, and there also is the crane that will very quickly get the Lotus out of the way.
This bow strikes again, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So Chris Shear on that last lap, as you say, dropping to fourth place.
Yeah.
Disappointing that, because he looked pretty solid in third, hadn't he?
Really had, yeah. And I had all but written down the car as being on the third step of the podium. Here comes the number 7 Janetta. Problems early on for Lei Kit Meng. So it still takes the checkered flag. And there will certainly be a story to tell for the final podium position, because in the end, Brian Lai in car number 2 got a good start as well, didn't he? On the
initial
start.
Slightly more mysterious as to where the time went. Rest of the cars battle home, including a good little scrap there between the recovering Janetta of Lei Kit Meng. But no doubt about the race winner. Great drive that by Liang Jiatong, who rather dominates the first race in this Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. And
on current form, it would rather indicate that we're going to see another great performance from the Lamborghini tomorrow. I can't predict anything in particular around a Macau Grand Prix weekend, but it hasn't put a wheel wrong so far. Qualifying, that's the third place car, the number 2 car of Brian Lai.
So a good result for Lamborghini as a brand. Different teams, Harmony Racing and Parkview Motor. And again, just to make the point that Brian Lai has spent most of his season racing single-seaters in that Asian Formula Renault Super Challenge. So a very different type of car, never mind the circuit itself.
It's just a unique opportunity to drive at one of the world's greatest circuits at Macau. And that is very much the reason why across the world tune in for the action. That's the left front bodywork for the number 77 car down in pit lane. That car out for tomorrow.
Yes, that's the Janetta G54 3/4, isn't it now?
So,
it's missing from that car after its tangle at Lisboa of Lo Kim Ho.
Janetta Parts Department are rubbing their hands with glee.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So more parts, and Janetta's a pretty cool cars for racing, because the bodywork is intended to be very modular. So if there is a coming together, that's it. We'll unbolt that part, bolt a new part on, and that's how you go racing. And they can run very well without the bodywork at all, which is a unique feature of the Ginetta family of race cars. But our race leader pulls into pit lane. Parc Fermé will come next, and we get to see the joy of the top three drivers: Liang Jiatong, Law Kai Law, and Brian Lai, soon to appear down on in the Parc Fermé area, and then onto the podium of the weekend. Emerging from the Mercedes AMG, comes out in second place. Law Kai Law, just having a look at the front of the car. And, well, there was a moment when it was very, very close to the back of the race leader, going around the Melco hairpin. So maybe just having a look to see if a little bit of polish is required at the front of the car. And that's our race winner's car, the Lamborghini Huracan. The door opens, squeezes out from the roll cage, and number one for our race winner of the first race for the weekend for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. Thumbs up and well done for Liang Jiatong. Fastest lap of the race as well, a 2:30, 2:39. And all the drivers being down in Parc Fermé. Weighing process is going on now, queuing up for weighing.
Yes, there'll be a weight of the car taken. The driver's weight will be noted as well, and then they'll do it again at the end of the race to make sure that the car hits the regulation weight.
96. Okay.
So the scrutineering team going through the data. Weight of the drivers taken, and then those cars that are under Parc Fermé conditions will go to the weighbridge as well. And in fact, if you don't go to the weighbridge, as one of the touring car drivers failed to do yesterday, then there's a penalty. There's a grid drop, for example, looming over one driver for today. But thumbs up all round for all the victorious drivers. But they actually had top job there. Really, really impressive drive to control the pace all the way through.
We'll see some highlights of the race. We had racing laps, 3 laps under safety car control for the recovery of at least one car out on circuit. And after that, we will have a podium presentation.
As Li Chao in the white overalls, who steps from his Mercedes with his Porsche livery, but he was, of course, the driver that got involved in that drama down at Lisboa on the first lap. And Liang Jiatong is a happy race winner as well. So the drivers heading to the podium, they'll be given the face masks en route.
Podium, right? Huh? Yeah, go have a podium. Go have a podium. Go have a podium.
And the circuit is then going to be made ready for motorbikes. So look at the GTC class. Liang Jiatong, the class winner and the overall winner from Brian Lai. And then it was Hoi Wai Chong third from Patricio Yu. As far as GT4 is concerned, as the other class, and it was there that we had Law Kai Law as the winner. He was second overall. Chris Shear second in class, and then Li Chao third from Zhang Rushi, and then in fifth place, Xia Yu in the Porsche Cayman. So a great spectacle, GT machinery, whether it's GT3 or GT4, and that just whets your appetite for GT3 to come later in the day.
And we will have a podium for the overall top 3, although we've been able to give you the class top 3s for the GTC and the GT4 categories. It will be for the overall top 3 that we will have a podium in just a couple of moments. Tomorrow we will have category podiums as well. But let's look back at the highlights of our first race of the weekend for the Melco Greater Bay Area GT Cup. And quite a few highlights in our